right. Who wants to recap last session for inspiration? Anyone remember what happened last week?
We. I'm gonna do it on inspiration. I just steal this. Well, I'm gonna steal it anyway because nobody's saying anything anyway. The ooh, 0. Good. We we began with the Mardukov clan having wrapped up, aka the Keepers of the Feather, having wrapped up, cleaned out the winery, and gave them the notification that we had defeated the witches and they were able to move back into their previous home. They hooked us up with a bunch of not terrible wine, as opposed to the terrible wine that I stole, and gave us a ride all the way back to Balaki to meet with Erwin at the Blue Water Tavern. There was a nice reunion, and the three of us headed for a prior engagement with Lady Fiona Watcher. We picked up um, Blinksy and Piccolo along the way, and headed to, and I say this with the heaviest of air quotes here, book club. The The book club was apparently on how to commit regicide for dummies, because when it became clear that we wanted no part in it and wanted to leave, they locked us in and were like, "Well, you're our enemy now," and that didn't work out so well for them. The Lady Watcher and her, I'm gonna say cultists, because they were all in hoods and having a secret meeting in a basement that had a pentacle on the ground. So like,
He was a little on the nose, yeah.
it's a little cultish, you know.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
I'm a little disappointed. Wizards of the Coast shape up.
I just it wasn't cult like in we're down here sacrificing people to Dagon or something, but it was a cult. It was a cult.
Today.
As far as I'm determining it, cults are religious organizations used for selfish reasons, which is many, and in
Yeah,
particular this one.
yeah. But with Watcher and her cronies dispatched, we split up, and poor Zazarak and Floof got oh dear Blinksy over to the church so that he could have a mental breakdown over everything that was witnessed, including the horrible murder of which we all committed in one way or another. Um, Not Blinksy, he was fine. I mean, not fine, but he didn't kill anybody, is what I meant.
He didn't die.
While Zeldrin and Arium went and met with the Duke, there were some harsh words exchanged. We are no longer welcome in the Duke's in the Duke's abode, but he also sucks. So fuck that guy. Next time we should let people burn his house down. Um, that was somewhat softened when Zazarak arrived and was able to I won't say smooth things over, but at least, unwrinkle a few major wrinkles. Following that, we went back to Watcher's house, both to gather evidence, but also to try to. He had mentioned burning down the Baron's estate, and the maid Madalena had gone missing during that time, and we were not sure if she was the one who was going to be doing said burning. So we were kind of going around looking for evidence. There was
Oh,
also the
that's what
fact
you
that
were thinking. Okay. Sorry, I continue. Sorry.
I mean, that's what I was. I won't speak for everybody now because I kind of feel like maybe I should feel dumb, but
No, I mean it makes sense. I just hadn't realized that that was what you had assumed based
Yeah.
on the information you had been given.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
not just Madeline. Like, we didn't know who was doing the burning. We just knew we couldn't find like the only person in that staff that we could name.
Uh huh.
Uh, Regardless, we there were also the like skeletons that came out of the floor and stuff. So we just
Awful.
needed to do some house cleaning. Um, we met up with Victor because Victor I won't say chased us out of his father's house. Not chased after us, like not driving us off, but like, hey, whoa, and told us a little bit about a relationship he had had with one of Watcher's children, I think, one of her daughters, if I remember.
Hmm.
Okay, I do remember. Um, and so he came with us to Watcher's house while we were looking around for everything, and we spoke to the staff, who also clarified that there was no like open agreement between Watcher and any of the werewolves in the area. That was more of like a hey, we're Team Strahd, and the werewolves are Team Strahd. Ergo, werewolves are our friends, friend of a friend situation. Um, as opposed to just, yeah, I'm going to bring them some steaks, like the guy in yellow. Totally not feeding werewolves. I can't remember his name. The guy that Zazarak followed is probably a strong word, but observed. Regardless, within the Watcher house, we found two things that were ultimately incredibly, I'll gently say, curious. The individual with whom I cannot remember her name. The individual that Victor had been in a relationship with.
Stella.
Stella, thank you. A little worse for the wear. The staff had her locked in her room. Although she was like she was in straps and stuff like that, but she also just took them off, so that seemed kind of more for theater than anything else, maybe. I don't know. Or she's just gotten real good at escaping them. And Victor did warn us that she had started acting strange lately. Like what we see is not the person that he was with originally. She has latched on to the brothers after both indicated their ability to perform divine magic. And the second thing that we ran into was a room full of cats. One of which had a key around its neck. In what looked like some sort of office, we eventually did manage to catch said cat and retrieve the key. And had pretty much just opened the door to which the key belonged.
Yeah. So you you actually still have the key in your hand, but you had found the device that opens the door. So you still have a key, but the door is open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, important. Um, Behind this hinged panel in the bookcase that you had located, you see a dusty 10-foot square room with a curtained window and shelves lining three of its walls. On the bottom shelf rests an iron chest, and the other shelves remain bare. That's just what you get peeking in.
Does it look like this key would go to said chest?
Yeah, you can give it a shot.
I will confidently stride into the trap.
Okay. You hear the key turn and click open. The latch springs open,
Arium waits for a few seconds, looks around, slowly opens the lid.
You see that inside there is a device for like a poison needle trap, but the key has opened the lock without causing it to activate. You also see that there is a silk purse inside, um, a leather satchel, a wooden pipe, some scrolls, uh, a leather folder, and a black leather grimoire, and then a very, very old yellowed letter, still in an envelope. It's broken open, but in an envelope.
We we seem to have found a few things. Perhaps this is something that will aid our case to the Burgermeister. I will back out of this room and try to find space on the desk to just take these things out and go through them.
Yeah. So the bag is full of electrum, each with that stern visage and profile that you can now recognize since you have taken note of it earlier today. Um, let's see. 180. The leather bag has some gold in it. The wooden pipe looks quite old and very, very well kept and oiled. It looks like it's probably an heirloom. The scrolls are notarized deeds for parcels of land that have been given to the Watcher family by Count Stradvan Zarovich, and these are dated hundreds of years ago. Um, the leather case contains an unbound manuscript titled "The Devil We Know," and skimming it, you read a poetic manifesto written by Lady Fiona Watcher herself, attesting that the worship of devils can bring happiness, success, and freedom, wealth, and longevity to those who offer their platitude. Uh, the
You have to admit, I am decidedly less torn up about our um, erstwhile coup here, given the contents of this particular endeavor of hers.
the grimoire is the black leather book is the Grimoire of the Four Quarters, written by the infamous diabolist Devostus, who was drawn and quartered for his fell practices, yet he did not die. Let's see. And then the very last is a very old letter to Lady Lovina Watcher from one Lord Vasily von Holtz, thanking Lovina for her hospitality, loyalty, and friendship over the years.
I will put the deeds back into the box. I suppose, by all technicality, that those now belong to Stella here, given I believe she is the only Watcher remaining,
Well, if I remember correctly, there are two brothers somewhere.
but not here in town.
Well, that I do not recall. I don't believe so.
Regardless, unless either of you feel like moving to this place, I don't think we have any real need for the deeds.
No, none whatsoever.
I think perhaps that this heresy, and I would gesture at that manifesto.
Well, I think, if anything, that will be excellent evidence
Mhm.
should anyone try and challenge our actions here today.
I have to say, it is it was a very, I assume, deliberate and also hilarious choice to draw and quarter a man whose treatise is entitled the Grimoire of the Four Quarters. That just seems
Well, I mean, I guess the question is
this is a
if,
forgery. The actual Grimoire we're trying to read from that.
uh, I guess the question is if the gentleman did not die, was the treatise written before or after the quartering?
Hmm. Perhaps we should read it and find out.
May- Maybe it'll help calm Blinksy down.
This is 2 negatives equals a positive, right?
Right. Right. Well, I guess we should just take all of that with us as we get Stella here to the church, I guess. Um, I figure, particularly those deeds, definitely valuable and definitely hers. And
Put
it
them
just
in the hands of
seems,
somebody that we can trust not to do something nefarious with them.
well, yeah, and it just seems uh, reckless to leave them here when will be no one protecting the house except these cats, of course.
I will do a once over on that small room again just to make sure there's nothing else that I missed.
Yeah, make a investigation check.
23.
It is it is completely barren. You can see you can peer behind the curtain outside. You see some lights on the street, but that's all.
Well, I think that's it for this place. I suppose it was prudent to keep such a thing secreted away, given its contents. Um, unless there is somewhere else you think we have missed in this particular house, perhaps we should be. Do you think we should take this to the Burgermeister now, or should we wait until he has had a time to calm down? Victor, perhaps you might take it for us?
Victor was left outside.
Right. Perhaps we should ask Victor to take it for us.
I'm not particularly interested in visiting the Burgomaster anytime soon.
Yeah, I think
Wolf? Sorry, I'm doing an animal puzzle with Miles.
gotcha. Well, I think my first concern is getting poor Stella here back to the church. She seems awfully interested in Sally and I's healing powers, but we don't have anything that has any real effect on her. Maybe the Midnight Rider will, or Twilight Rider, not the Rolling Stone song. The Twilight Rider will grace Zeldrin with some additional options come tomorrow. Besides, I do feel like I owe it to poor Blanksy to check in on him and try and help calm his nerves. As for the Burgermeister, well, I might be a little more forgiving than my brother, but he can certainly wait. We have taken care of any threat, and particularly with what you have found, Ariam, I am not at all concerned about what he may or may not be cooking up for us. I am a bit concerned, however, about how Stella might react when she gets outside and sees the individual that Floof is currently hanging out with.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna try and head down there and see if I can't create a little space. And I am going to try and extricate myself from this situation. I don't know how effective that will be because if I remember correctly, Stella was, after a couple attempts at some healing spells, Stella was very grabby.
Yes, but she is now sitting on the floor with all of the cats.
Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna head downstairs and outside to Floof and Victor.
Okay, I will bring you there to the bottom of the stairs.
Hmm.
Um, you come down the flight of stairs and
Mhm.
into the foyer. The front door is still open,
Hmm.
and you see some of the lights uh, that Arium had kind of been able to note while he was looking for other things in the room. Um, are torches borne by
Hmm.
uh, many armed guards
Okay.
outside the house.
Loud. Well, hello. Wonderful to see you. Anything I can help you with?
All of these guards are flanking the Baron and his hounds, who is directing them to move around the building and to secure the the land, the property. Um, he he sees you as you shout and says, "This house is now forfeit to the city as we determine the depth of the violence you and your companions have alerted me to this evening. Karl, Nikolai, and Stella Watcher are to be taken into our custody until such time we find it is appropriate for their release.
You plan on holding the children responsible for their mother's actions?
Only to inquire with them their knowledge of her intentions.
Stella's not much of a talker, and she's quite comfortable with us. I think she'll remain that way.
Are you coming down after?
Oh
Zasma?
yeah, I forgot that I'm not with. No, I don't. I'm not aware of this situation. So
I think it's fair Zeldrin gave a good shout if you want to have, like, headed to the top of the stairs to listen better.
yeah, I'll have listened and then come down and said that.
I'm okay with that.
If I can overhear that, can I then go back into the room and stuff those deeds into my armor?
I think you would see, like, Zeldrin following after for something, and you can. I'd allow that. Yeah, you can close that
Perfect.
door.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab the deeds, leave the box with the blasphemous treatise. So I'm up here with Stella. Oh no, did you take Stella, Zeldrin, or go down on your own?
No, I did not bring her.
Okay.
You staying up there then with her?
Yeah, I will stay with her, and I've seen the way she has reacted to the two of them doing magic. I will pop McCormick into existence and look around. Look, I got 3 spells, okay? And one of them kills things. So
Her saucer eyes, the pupils dilate extraordinarily, and the cat in her arms that she's petting just is gently let loosed into her lap, and she, like, holds her hands out for.
I will drop McCormick into her hands. All right, now
Uh,
this may get a little difficult. We may need to make a certain escape, so just please play with McCormick here and try to stay calm for now.
she's handling it as if she does not understand it's an animal, but not without respectful delicacy. Like turning him upside down and pulling and pinching, which I'm sure is fine. If not nauseating. You're staying up there though?
For now, yeah.
Okay. Do you move to the door or do you stay where you are?
I will. If Stella will follow me, I will. Actually, I will just stay in the doorway of this room. I
Okay.
will not be visible from the ground.
Okay. Downstairs, it is very briefly after uh, the Sunstriders have spoken somewhat with Vargas, um, that some of the guards around the east side of the building come back with Victor uh, in their, maybe not custody, but like he's being held by, like, his 2 upper arms by 2 different guards. Um, there is the filthiest of glares exchanged between the 2 Velakovich gentlemen, um, while you witness.
Well, Baron, it seems like you have your hands quite full this evening, and as my brother had mentioned, um, Stella has, and we have developed quite the rapport. Certainly, given all we have done and the fact that we are the ones who thwarted this coup attempt and then immediately came to seek you out to both warn you of it and to ensure that there were no other prongs of this attempt. Surely you could entrust Stella to our custody and protection. That will allow you and your men to conduct your business this evening without worry for her behavior. And were the brothers here as well, we would extend the same offer to them, but unfortunately, we do not know where they are. And I am going to use my channel divinity to invoke the Emissary of Peace.
The Baron says, "The Watcher boys, we know where they are. That is already under control. As for Stella, I am not offering you or your companions any greater influence over the decision making, the safety of this city. She will be brought
She
to my
will not,
house."
nor have I made an offer.
Well, well. Temperatures all running hot out here, aren't they? So, no offers have been made one way or the other. Well, then that's fine. You take control of this house and this property and all the possessions in it. We will head to the church with Stella, where she will wait with at least one, if not all of us, until we hear further from you. Surely, holding on to one of 3 Watcher children will influence nothing, particularly given the fact that this one seems to have the same respect for her mother that Victor has for you.
His stern expression does not crack. And he says to his guards, "I will not continue to be made a mockery of." And gestures. It's very evident that what he does is gestures for them to close on you. But many of them are more than hesitant. Bearing shields and spears, many of them ready themselves, but none take any steps closer. And you can see the temperature within the Baron almost visibly increase as he gets more and more heated that he is being denied.
Perhaps if you did not wish to be mocked, you shouldn't have been a fool.
You hear Victor murmur something and suddenly disappears in a cloud of black smoke. And
At that, right?
Uh-huh.
I am now speaking basically to the crowd, or basically to the soldiers. I mean, I'm still addressing the Baron here, but I'm talking much louder. Well, let's see. We eliminated Isaac under your authority. And then we sniffed out and eliminated Lady Watcher and her threat to your rule. So that's two significant individuals and threats that
Brother, don't forget about the den of vampires that was living in the coffin maker's house.
true. So that's three significant threats that we have eliminated to help make this town safer, and Baron, to help make your rule more smooth. If you have decided that that is no longer in your interest, I would just remind you and all your men that if we were able to take care of all of those threats, how easily do you think we'll be able to take care of you? Now, please, all we ask is for simple passage, and not even out of town. Surely, you are wise enough to recognize when an olive branch is being presented to you. And you should look around, because even if you're not, you're certainly wise enough to recognize that your men might fear something more than they fear you.
The darkness around you swells some and forms into Victor beside you with a cold hand on your shoulder.
Hey, Vic.
In his hand is a thin, black, crooked piece of wood formed into a wand. And he is continuing to glare at his father,
Now,
who, for all his humiliation, still stands.
I got
Question.
news. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, the windows. I saw the front. You said when I was looking through the windows in that secret room.
Uh-huh.
The windows in this room out the back, do they open?
Yes.
Okay. Are they sizable enough for me to climb out of?
I'll allow it. There's enough discussion that you could work your way onto the roof.
Okay. Are they big enough for Rokea to climb out of?
That might be harder.
Okay. Then once I am out of the window, I will turn into Rokea, and I will hold on to one of Stella's arms while I do this. Not hard, but I want to be able to get her through the window once I am out and Rokea.
Okay. I'll allow that. No check required.
Oops, I did not mean to roll that. All right, keep quiet. You and me, we gonna have to make our way down and out the back. Yeah, right.
Shh.
Exactly.
She looks down over the roof and steps one of her feet out into the open air.
I still have a hold of her.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You're grasping her, but and she's not dropping herself, but there with that motion, you are very glad to be holding her because she would have just plummeted.
Right. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you got you got the spirit right, but I'm just gonna pick you up. All right. I'm just gonna pick you up. We're gonna make our way down, nice and quiet, like.
Okay, how are you planning on getting down?
Uh, we're gonna try to climb.
Climb what?
I have rope. I will secure to the window. We're only like a story up, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have a grappling hook?
I do not. I am leaving this rope behind. There
Okay.
is no
It's
chance
it's
of me getting this rope back.
it's more like I don't know what you're securing it to.
I figured I would just tie it to a window frame. Like if there are windows next to each other, that I can open both the windows. And I've got 50 feet of rope. I only need like 10 feet to go
That's a
down,
good
right?
point. There's the windowing here is pretty strange, but with enough finagling you could make that work. Like having secured the rope before pulling her out onto the roof,
Yeah,
because that would be a two-handed job.
that's a valid point.
Um,
Yeah, that's happening. What's happening
Okay.
down here?
Did they just leave Floof on the side of the house?
Uh, there's not a way that they felt comfortable persuading Floof. I think they grabbed Victor because they could.
Okay. Since I can communicate with him telepathically, I'm going to instruct him to start digging, and I want him to come up right under these three.
Okay, there's enough weird shit happening now that I think we need to roll initiative just so timing can
Mm-hmm.
measure correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put Floof back a little bit farther where he was.
Come on, initiative. Why? You'll have to add turn. Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, no, never mind. They got it.
I'm gonna have Stella just work on your turn, Rokea.
Okay.
And
Oh, I mean,
you need to roll Floof. I can
Yeah.
roll him for you.
okay, yeah, that's great.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Fucking tunneling. Okay, so Zeldrin, you are first to act in this deeply tense moment.
Mhm. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just keeping an eye on everything.
Okay. I'm gonna say that the inciting incident for this action is Zazarak instructing Floof, which means that Floof is like beginning to follow through on that action.
Mhm.
Which means that the guards kind of waveringly are sort of there's something, and they're going to like move to move a little bit closer to the animal, completely out of their depth on how to handle the situation.
Mhm.
Uh, Victor, for his worth, uh, is holding a spell, and the wood, the grain of the wood of this blackened twig crackles with a purple light in his hands. His grip is a vice, even on you, Zazarak. It is your turn.
Mm-hmm. Well, awfully tense out here, but no reason it has to stay that way. if you, in your wisdom, recognize that you're spread awfully thin and having some allies who have this very night protected your rule, assisting you by keeping an eye on a person of interest, well then, you can go on and do what you need to do, and we can all leave here being friends. I don't think you want to see what happens should you choose differently. And I will now tell Floof to surface under these three.
Okay. His burrow speed is 10 feet, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It'll be a
Okay.
while.
Yeah. Okay. Rokea?
Go ahead.
We'll say I'm assuming you're attempting to climb down.
Correct.
Climbing takes half speed unless you have a climb speed.
I do not believe I do.
Okay. And if you're carrying Stella,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say that this is gonna slow you down even further. So it's gonna take half and half movement, like
Yeah.
quartered movement to get to the ground.
Okay. I have a base speed of 40, so I should be able to make the 10-foot climb.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Using just the movement. So if you wanted actually, let me move you to the right floor. If you wanted, would have the ability to dash to get farther, but if you're carrying her, that still is going to have the standard
Yep.
penalty. She'll still move on your turn, but she does not move as fast as you. So if you wanted to like put her down and run, she'd be a few feet behind you.
No, then I will definitely. I figure I don't want to risk that she falls behind or doesn't keep up. I don't know how heavy she is. I'm
She would
not.
still count as a weighted burden, but she's not very heavy. Oh, hold on 1 second.
Uh-oh.
Hell yeah. That was
Definitely.
definitely apparent. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating. Oh,
This is not food. This is a toy.
we got him a little like car with a Christmas tree on top of it, shaped like
Oh,
stress
boy.
ball, like foam stress ball,
Yeah.
and he was like using his mouth to tear it apart.
Oh no. No.
Yikes.
He didn't eat a single thing of it, but he was using his teeth to rip it to pieces
Oh,
and then
boy.
arranging the pieces. He seemed very happy with himself, but
Yeah.
I'm horrified.
Right.
Oh my god.
Good catch.
At first I thought he was just playing with Play-Doh, and I was like, he shouldn't do that in the front room, but that's fine.
Mhm.
But then I saw it go to his mouth, and I was like, that's not fine.
Right.
And then it was worse than Play-Doh. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm gonna die when I'm 40, I think.
Nah, I mean, all the parents walking the earth, I think, would are a pretty strong indication that somehow you make it.
I mean, we've known that this is something he'll do with a item like that, but it has
Mhm.
been so long since he's had one or done it. I kind of forgot that that's
Gotcha.
what he does with
I
little
just
foam
had my
balls.
fingers crossed.
Right. Right. Just hoping that he'd grown out of it. Nope.
Yeah.
Psych, Dad.
Oh, really though. Oh. Whew, okay, all right. What is happening? Oh, okay, we're
Chaos.
Oh, good lord. Okay, Rokea, what you doing?
So my plan at this point is to essentially, there are two parts to this plan. One of which unfortunately requires me to move McCormick to the ground out of her grip, uh, with the idea that McCormick is going to make his way to the brothers. Rokea is making his way to the church. He's just leaving. He's
Oh,
taking Stella, and he is going to bank on the brothers being able to protect themselves long enough to get her to Sanctuary. So I figure once he's there, Rokea is not sure how any of this shit works, but figures once she's there, like, she'll be safe. And McCormick is the messenger that, hey, guys, I left.
okay.
How is a crab going to going to deliver that message? Man, your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, so if you're hoofing it to the road, carrying Stella,
That is my vague plan, purely
Mhm.
from a don't want her wandering off standpoint. Yes.
okay. Um, that means for this first. Oh wait, no, you don't have a dash because you're using an. No wait, he's never mind. You have a dash. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's already in the world. So you can get 20 feet from here for this round. Is that good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
It might actually be even slower than that because I am going to try to sneak as best
Oh my
as my
god.
as my scale mail wearing ass can stealth.
Okay, it's definitely a
Yep,
stretch.
that checks. That checks.
I was gonna say it's a stretch, but for the future rounds, you can take the action to hide, and we'll have you roll the stealth check, and then you can do your movement. Uh,
Okay.
but
I
I
was
think the
basically
nat one is a
operating
good
under the
start.
yeah. I was basically operating under the moving at a stealthy pace.
Hmm.
I didn't know if I figure I'm behind the building from them. I'm out of line of sight, but I just want to be
Yes.
quiet for the first like block or so, so they don't wonder if something is going on behind the building.
Yeah, and as they have been,
Clearly not successful.
yeah, like you're less aware of the fact that they are sending guards around the building to try to see if anyone is doing exactly what you're
Yeah,
doing. I
zero
think that we're
concept of that.
Yeah, I think we're in a good place to say
I mean,
like
the good news is, at least on one side of the building, they're distracted by a giant hamster, like digging a hole.
yeah. Okay.
This is about as buck wild as a session has started that I can remember. Like this,
This is
just so sideways. It's amazing.
this is definitely not what I thought it was going to like step out as. That said, I am going to make the Baron is going to rally his envoy. He is seething.
Hmm.
Yep.
He is belligerent. He is not going to be pressed either by persuasion or intimidation. Uh, that said, his guards maybe. So what I'm going to do, I want Zazarak, since you were the one who are making some of the more pertinent statements for this.
Hmm.
We are going to do contested intimidation checks for the guards.
Okay.
So I will have you make yours. I'll roll shit on mine, but I have advantage for his position.
That's also not whispered. I don't know if that was
Yeah,
intentional.
I noticed. Yeah, I've got it. Did I
Um,
just close his tab? I did.
I will burn an inspiration to see if I can't improve that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll. That's a good enough roll, I guess, that I'll stick with it, even though I know it's not going to be successful. But I don't want to
Uh-huh.
game the system here, so.
um, Vargas says, the Volokovich line will not be made into cowards. And the guards are going to, on their turn, make some more bold actions, but still not stupid ones. So that will pay off in a bit. Floof is moving 10 feet. Good work, Floof. Oh, 20 feet. You're dashing. I'm going to let that happen. Okay. He's right there underground, but nobody knows that. He's 10 feet down. Oh, wait. He gets. I didn't have him dash on his last turn. He gets one more. Go to the back. There we go. Zeldrin, it is your turn.
Real hard not to guiding bolt this guy. I'm going to start like very obviously holding a sacred flame. And see, the last thing he said was that his line won't be made a coward of. God, I'm not good at coming up with insults.
Zeldrin just looks at him and says, "Fuck you too, dude."
I'll just kind of stare at him and say, "Well, I'm sorry, you're a coward," and be readied. And the trigger is like, if a full-on fight breaks out, then I will zap him.
You are making an arcane gesture, though. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That is going to trigger Victor's held action.
Mm-hmm.
And a burst of purple energy that smokes and sears through the darkness impacts the dog in front of you, Zeldrin, from the end of his wand. Let me just make sure. I'm actually going to move these two. Whisper rolls. And the dog yelps and is killed by fire in front of you. The guards, for their horror, are going to close. Just such. Let's see. A few of them are going to drop into the tunnels after Floof. They have been successfully intimidated by the Baron and are gonna go down and try to stop the giant fuzzy monster the best way they know possibly how. Like, they're going to start.
Good luck with that, fucknuts.
They're gonna try with the weapons they have available to them. I have an 18 and a 20 to hit Floof.
Oh, that's gotta hit. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Floof is at full health, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll let you track his health,
Mhm.
but he takes a total of 8 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
The guards next to Victor They're very scared of him, and would prefer to see him dead. One of them actually crit against him, which is terrifying. Uh, and he already used his reaction. So that is a total of 12 points of damage. And Victor, for his point, says, "This line ended long ago, you pathetic whelp." And he is going to cast a very big spell right now. And the wand in his hand, almost audibly next to you, Zazarak, splinters as an eruption of a spiral of darkness swarms over the people in front of him. And everything in front of him, the hound that remains, his father on the path, the garden path, and the guards closing in, are encased in blackness that, as it spirals and spins away, it is a glass-like encasement over all of them. They are all dead. And it is your turn.
Oh, you just murked his dad. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, we don't have to kill the Baron now, but that
Right.
was intense. I was gonna say, does my Sacred Flame go off? But that doesn't matter.
Um. Well, I will just announce to all the guards that I can see. Surely you don't want to meet the same end, so please put your weapons down. That means you in the tunnel too.
Every spear drops, and those who are still alive run. And Victor just has a cold and almost manic, wild-eyed look, but everyone is fleeing. They are gone. Rokea, you see many of them beat you to the road, and they're out.
Rokea's in the process of tiptoeing to the road and just sees the guards fucking booking like. Oh. All right. Okay. Well, this seems unnecessary now.
All right, Floof. Well,
All right, McCormick, get up here.
there's not much point to it anymore, but you did such a nice job digging so far. Why don't I let you finish the job? Hey,
pops
buddy.
his head out over here.
Well done. Oh, you look a little worse for wear. Oh, we'll fix you right up. No worries. Victor, thank you, but how are you doing?
He says nothing, just breathes heavily.
Much like he gripped my shoulder, I will now grip his shoulder. Say, Victor, why don't you come to the church with us where we can all try and have a little conversation and unwind? I figure right about now that's probably the safest place in town, don't you think?
Your touch is almost a snap as he spins to look at you, and then he almost instantly composes himself. Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, let me just head upstairs and tell Ariam that it's okay to come on down now.
I will have come around the house.
Okay, just for shits and giggles, I would like to state that you make it around the house about 2 seconds after I head up the stairs. We do that little dance, and then I come back down. Oh, all right. Oh, well, there you are. All right. I got worried. I saw the rope. I didn't know if you would climb down or they had climbed up.
Oh, could you get that for me? I thought I was
yeah.
gonna have to leave it here, but I mean, if I don't have to buy rope, this place is fucked up prices. I mean,
Yeah, it most certainly does. I'll run up there and get that for you right now.
appreciate it. I've got Stella here. I grabbed
Which I do.
I grabbed the papers. What the hell happened to Ooh. Is that
We'll probably we can speak more once we make it to the church. How about the lot of you go ahead and head on ahead? I'll be right behind you.
Rokea, do you come closer at all?
I mean, I will stay this side of Floof. I'm trying to shield
Okay.
her from the bodies, and we had talked about keeping Stella and
Victor.
Victor away from each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I'm not going to take great pains to hide her if she starts fighting or something.
Okay. Yeah. She's currently mesmerized by the space hamster.
That's valid. I will summon McCormick back and hand him over as well.
All right. Okay. Zazarak, you fetch the rope.
Mm-hmm.
Zeldrin, what were you? You wanted everyone else to go ahead?
Yeah, I was saying let them go on ahead a little bit, and then I was going to kind of look through the pockets of the Baron. I wanted to wait for.
He is entirely encased in black ice.
Well then, yeah, I'll go with everybody.
Okay. As the three of you, Zeldrin, Zazarak, and Victor, catch up a little bit with Rokea, Stella sort of standing beside him and playing with the crab, sees Victor, hisses and throws the crab at him, which is certainly startling. It's a flurry of like confusion, and in that like trying to dodge the crab, she just lunges forward and scratches his face with her bare hands.
I will heal her off of him as best I can and back up.
That is manageable.
Oh, all right. Throw in my damn crab.
Say, Victor, why don't we take a different route to the church and maybe maybe see Stella seemed interested in Floof. Maybe she'd like to ride for a little bit.
All right, but I'm not sure after that that's a good idea. In case something else piques her wrath.
Well, I'll come along as well.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, well, wonderful. So why don't you three go, and then Floof and Victor and I will take a different route.
Yeah.
Come on,
Seems
Floof.
like a good idea.
You split a little. Zeldrin, Rokea, is there anything that you discuss on your path?
So things started to get a little heated back there. I'm not sure how much you heard, but whenever things started to happen, Victor kind of blew a fuse and froze. Blew a froze. The ice. That was Victor. As much as I wanted to take down that no good Baron, Victor beat me to it.
Say that's probably for the best.
Well, better for us. I mean, we aren't the ones who killed the mayor, but now he's got
Yeah.
patricide on his hands.
I didn't. Once the Baron tried to push his men to grab this one, I figured it was best if we tried to sneak out the back.
Hmm.
Well, that was Arium's plan anyway. So I miss the scrap.
There honestly wasn't much of one. Zaz and I didn't do anything. Floof was working on tunneling a little bit, but Victor started and ended it.
Well, it shouldn't be any surprise. It's not like those two. There's no love lost between them.
Yeah. We'll go with the father, see if we can set up what to do now. I guess this town's gonna need elections.
Or something. I mean, that aside, what's our plan? I can't imagine we're going to be very welcome here, regardless. We did off one of their nobles. We've been involved in the offing of their current leader. I mean, I can't imagine that anyone who takes control is going to want us here.
It's possible, but I don't know. I don't think that there was much love for the Baron. Those who follow Watcher, they're worrisome certainly, but I think that the bloke with the tavern, I think we're on good terms with him. We can speak with him about seeing if he's interested in a leadership position in the city.
You want to put a tavern on it? Okay.
Seems
I
like
just-
an upstanding kind of guy. I don't know.
Well,
I
mean,
don't
yeah, but
know.
do you think these people are gonna, if they discover his secret, you think they're gonna like that?
Fair point. As much as we have gotten ourselves involved in the politics here, it's not really our place to decide the new leader, but I think we should just start by letting the father know what has transpired and where to go from there. He can advise.
That's fair. That's fair.
God, I was really hoping this would be just a nice, simple, quiet, easy, safe place to drop off Irina and us be on our way, and here we are gone and getting ourselves mixed up in every bit of shit we could find in this town.
Yeah, on our way to where exactly? I've been thinking about that. I mean, we need to find this Madame Ava, because if we're supposed to be doing something for this town, I mean, this Madame Ava is the reason we're even here in this kind of terrible place.
Mm-hmm.
But we still don't really know exactly where she is, do we? I mean,
Other than the
we could.
Serpools or Sarpools or however it's
Yeah.
pronounced. It's,
You think
I
Aragol
think
might
we got-
know, right? I mean, I know they've
it's
separated
likely.
from that group.
Yeah, I think he'd be able to point us, but I think before we came here, there was a sign pointing towards the Sarpools. I figure that, once we're in that area, it's not going to be too hard to find a big, flashy, colorful camp.
As you are walking, um, you two bump into, headed your way, um, a group of guards that has detained two young men. Um, Both of them thin in the face, sharp featured, with brown hair. One in a ponytail, one cut rather short. Um, both in noble attire. Um, the guards see you and also see Stella, and say, "Oh, is the Baron changing instructions? Are we to go
Just come
elsewhere?"
with us. Yeah, just follow us.
Okay. There's no need to make any checks. The befuddlement, and also you guys do have a functional reputation amongst the guards at this time. Uh, they begin murmuring to each other and just follow, kind of whispering in confusion, trying to figure out what's happening as you make it to the Church of Saint Andrel. Uh, Zeldrin, is there anything that you make intention of doing or saying on your trek with Victor?
Sazerac.
Oh, yes, sorry.
No worries. Um, yeah, say, Victor, what do you suppose that was with Stella scratching your face like that?
Oh, she doesn't like me very much.
Why exactly do you think that is?
I told you, when last we spoke, it did not go very well.
Mm-hmm. And you think she's held the grudge all this time?
He puts his hand to his face where one of the scratches, though superficial, has drawn a little blood.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Well, uh, regardless, I guess I owe you my thanks for protecting me and my brother.
We're
I do
friends.
wish. Well, yes, I do wish we could have found a less violent solution, but perhaps your quick action prevented greater bloodshed. So I do appreciate it. I know it's just occurred and there's a lot to consider, but have you given any thought to what is next for Valaki?
We're lucky? No.
Mm.
I was preparing to travel with you when you left. We had discussed that. And he seems
No,
a
I
little confused.
no, I do understand, but just to say the leader of the town is no more. There are
Yes.
certainly many fine people here. I just wonder what is next.
I don't think I could give a rat's ass.
Hmm. Understood. Well, let's get back to the church then and see if we can't get you a little cleaned up. And I will reach out to him and use lay on hands to heal, I don't know, 5 HP worth of whatever's going on.
He did get stabbed actually pretty bad. So that's
Oh,
very
so
good.
yeah. Like I'm looking at the blood on his face, and I realize, wait, Victor, are you holding your abdomen? Do you have a stomach ache or something? Oh, good Lord, Victor, why did you not say why did you not say something? And I'll heal him for 15 points.
Okay.
And you know what? While I'm at it, Floof, come here. Let me give you some scratches, and I'll heal Floof for 8 points.
All right. As the night draws on, all of you find yourself at St. Andrew's, knowing the potential risk that this might pose. I'm assuming you bring Stella somewhere where she will not immediately see Victor upon his arrival. Though, for his credit, he stands outside the building, still like within the property, but just outside the door, just sort of waits. Um, the three of you can reconvene and scheme.
Oh, so sneak out in the middle of the night? Sneak out in the middle of the night? Yeah, I was thinking sneak out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's probably Zeldrin filled me in. I know we didn't actually, none of us actually did the Burgermeister in, but yikes! Has
Yeah,
any? Oh goodness!
I think it's our responsibility to at least inform the father as best we can. We should speak with Irina and see how she's doing. If she wants to stay here or
Yeah,
move
there's
along
also
with us.
Well, and I mean, I agree, and I want to make clear I was joking. I don't think it would be very responsible for us to sneak out of town.
be smart
I,
though.
I
well,
think while maybe not, sneak out before the light of dawn, I think it's important. We do not need to take up any kind of leadership or influential role in this town. Um,
well, we certainly do not. I concur wholeheartedly. But at the same time, uh, to leave without ensuring some sort of calm, I mean, there could be chaos tomorrow.
mhm.
Yeah, we already know there's an element in town we probably don't want
Needs
sinking
to
their both.
follow with Lady Watcher. We don't want them to
Right. I mean,
gain control.
Yeah, well, I
I
mean, there's
think my gut instinct is to say, make Lady Watcher's memoir public so that people can understand exactly what that element is all about and stick around just long enough for there to be a peaceful transfer of power with as little involvement on our part as to who that power is transferred to and how as possible.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we can. It's our responsibility to make sure there's not sudden rioting and raids of the noble houses and the burgomaster's residence. Uh,
I
the
mean,
Mrs. Burgomaster, there's that to think about. Uh,
if for no other reason, then I mean, we know the Mardikovs, right? Surely there are other individuals and families here that, if we were to get to know them, we would feel warmly towards them as well. We need to ensure that there's some semblance of peace in the streets.
hmm
We also want to make sure that a certain element doesn't sink their literal and figurative teeth into the city.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
If this city is going to be a refuge for those who stand against Strahd and do not wish to live under his influence, such as our dear Arena, that does bring it into our purview to make sure that is the case.
you know, another bit that just occurs to me, and I'll like put an arm on Rokea and Zeldrin and sort of pull them in a little closer and talk a little quieter. Yeah, it just occurs to me that informing Father Lucian could be a bit more complicated, as I'm just now remembering that Father Lucian is the Baron's brother.
In-law.
Well, brother-in-law. So the notion that his brother-in-law was killed by his nephew, and now there's a power vacuum in town. I know, has he ever considered running a theocracy? Feel like we really stepped in it here.
Maybe we leave that last part out. I figure Father Lucian, he's now more than ever, folks are going to turn to him. They're going to wake up tomorrow with no leadership, no Baron, no one who's supposed to keep them safe, and he's going to be needed. We've got to warn him.
Mm-hmm. He's among the most honorable of the folks here, and I think the deeds that we have done for him lend us some favor, even if he's not so happy about the outcome. But
Whatever feelings he has about his brother-in-law and his nephew, that's between the two. Well, now two of them. That's not our concern.
it might just be that Victor does not find refuge in the church tonight. Though,
Well,
I feel like Father Lucian is of the type to seek to help Victor come to terms with the actions that he has committed.
I mean,
so
we just at some point Victor's going to have to answer to what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
why?
I mean, it wasn't just the Burgermeister got roasted.
No, I fully understand, but if it had been a split second later, it would have been Zeldrin or I that was doing the killing. And under that circumstance, would we have had to answer to someone?
Potentially, yeah. Difference is, you and Zeldrin here would have probably been a little bit more discriminating in your use of violence. It's one thing when, the father who's treated you like trash and clearly not respected you for years. That's one thing, but that man plus a couple of guards, plus a couple of dogs, plus let's be real, there's all we still don't know what happened to what was those servants that we're pretty sure are dead.
Yes, well,
If their choice is exile and he comes with us, then that's what happens. I'm not judging him for it. It's not my place, but it is certainly the place of the people of this city.
Well, we can argue about that later. I think right now the bigger fish to fry is what role do we have to play in the future of this town? And I do agree. I think that first and foremost, we should inform Father Lucian of everything. I also concur wholeheartedly that we need to make Lady Watcher's true intentions known to everyone so that they are fully informed when they make a decision going forward. And then from there, I don't know. Perhaps we can, as you said, Rokea, people are going to look to the good father in the coming days and weeks. Maybe we can convince him to take over a temporary leadership role, just a stewardship, until more permanent leadership is found. And then we can bow out of this city while his temporary rule is in place. But even that comes next. The first step in any of these things is informing Father Lucian. So
I figure a city like this has probably got like other nobles, right? Succession and all that jazz.
well, I do too, but I would imagine that first and second on this list are probably the good lady and then Victor out there. And I mean, Victor's stated explicitly that he plans on coming with us as we leave town. And, well, poor Lydia, I don't know that she's fit to lead those tea parties that she keeps throwing.
Yeah, that does. I doubt.
Although,
I
who
doubt she's
knows?
gonna.
Maybe it's just the oppressive thumb of the Baron that had her in such a state.
Could be.
Well, I think for this evening, the most we can do is inform Father Lucian. I've got to go talk to poor Gadolf Blakesy. See if I can't set that massive mistake at least back in the right direction. And then perhaps get some rest so we're ready to do this tomorrow. And brother, I don't know, maybe the Twilight Rider will give you something a little more powerful to try and help Stella out.
Take quite some power to make that possible. Perhaps Father Lucian has some ability in that way.
That would be wonderful.
Father Lucian, for the middle of the night, finds himself once again being brought up for whatever mischief. That's really demeaning to what has happened. To whatever events was transpired. Um, uh,
Just some shenanigans.
Shenanigans, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Chicanery.
Oh, How is it that we could find some way to offer help at this time? What are the Watcher children all doing here? And he looks around at you, the guards, their detainees, and Stella.
It's quite a story. Uh, Guards, I think that'll be all we need from you. Please return to your posts. We'll handle things from here.
Yeah, just kind of deliriously abandon this situation out of their depth.
Once they have moved off.
They give that look of, I know you're lying, but this is so above my pay grade that I'm just gonna go.
I don't know what's happening, and I could not be bothered to ask at this time.
Long story short, we were invited to visit Miss Watcher's estate. Turned out to be a clandestine meeting wherein she intended to set out to strike down the Baron and burn his house. We told her we were not interested in helping her with that, and she turned on us, would not allow us to leave. A fight ensued. We unfortunately, Miss Watcher did not survive. We traveled to
Pick something out of my teeth.
we traveled to the Baron to inform him of the plot against him and what had transpired. He was less than friendly. He appreciated our stopping the threat, but harsh words were exchanged, and we left the Baron's estate without not on the best of terms. We returned to the Watcher estate to figure out what we could and ensure that the threat had been quelled and speak with the employees therein. We found young Stella here upstairs. She became very attached to us whenever we showed her kindness. We uncovered the fact that Miss Watcher was in league with devils and nefarious creatures of the sort, and had intentions to ally this city with Strahd himself to invite that monster of the night in to uh, regain control of this land. And anyhow, we have come hoping that Stella may be able to find sanctuary here. She seems to have something afflicting her, and I was hoping you might be able to assist in restoring her in some way. I'm not sure of the situation. As we were leaving the Watcher estate to make our way here, we were confronted by the Baron and a contingent of guards. He made many demands, insisting that we turn over Fiona and to his custody. Whenever we refused, he shouted quite a bit about being made a fool of and uh, being a coward or something like that. A fight broke out, and young Victor, in a fit of a bit of a loose cannon incident, blasted a few guards along with the Baron. They are frozen like statues, dead in front of the Watcher estate. It's about caught up on what's happened tonight. It's kind of a big one.
He takes a minute to breathe.
TLDR, Fiona Watcher and the Baron are both dead, along with a few cultists following Miss Watcher, a few guards following the Baron. there's a power vacuum. This town's gonna need guidance.
Dawn Father, bring us some light. He lights some more candles and takes Stella by the hands, who does not look at him and instead looks at the entire building, uh, almost twisting out of his hands several times. He gives her some. He inspects her some, but ultimately says, "I do not know that it would be within my power to restore her. Whatever this is something greater than my own skills." As for refuge, I wish to keep this place open for any who seek it, but there have been many who have been brought to this house for safety in the few days. I have few beds left to offer. Carl, Nikolai, he goes to the two gentlemen who are still cuffed that the guards had brought. Are you aware of what was happening within your mother's house? Both of them are kind of sheepish, a little bleary-eyed. Of course, but it was not something we ever stood stood with. Everything that happened in her book clubs, we had no knowledge of. Just that it was happening. We stayed often elsewhere, out of the house. Is Stella all right? She has not left the house in a very long time. The father nods. She will be all right. I will speak to Victor. We may at least may find place for Stella tonight, if that is indeed the safest place for her. But you boys, I think you may return to your home. The both of them look at each other, worried and confused. Is there anyone who can help us out of these shackles by chance?
Oh
Right, we
shit! We didn't get a
probably
key.
should have had the gods leave a key, huh?
All right. Well,
Zezrak, you got them.
yeah. Let me take a look at that.
Boys, if you just set your arms, your wrists on the ground, I'll position my shield right here.
Oh, son of a
I was
bitch.
gonna assist. Sorry.
Aram, I can't. Or I'm sorry, Rokea. I can't see where that tumbler. Maybe if no, hold his arm up a little higher.
Ow, 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 ow. That lock breaks.
I'm sorry. Did you say the lock or the arm?
The lock.
Okay.
You're able to free Carl.
Oh, let me. All right. Well, let's see if we can't use the lessons we learned on this second lock here. Oh well, you got a little too. Hold on.
All right, and Nikolai is also freed.
Man, it was touch and go there for a minute. Thank you, Rokea. I could not have done it without your assistance.
Yeah, no problem.
And as they're rubbing their wrists, Nikolai says, I think I do recognize you three from the inn."
Oh, I'm sorry that I don't remember you from there. My apologies. Um,
Yeah, we're regulars. We spend most of our time there rather than home. Or
well,
we did. Uh,
well,
and
I
then
am,
whatever may come next.
yes, I am glad to learn that you were not seriously involved in your mother's endeavors. And I hope that when we make those endeavors public to the people here, that they look upon you kindly and with empathy.
Thank you. They look over.
Right. These actually belong to you. I will pull out the deeds to the land. I didn't want the Baron to grab anything that didn't belong to them, so yeah, these belong to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, a thought occurs to me. Um, would you two be willing to speak to or make announcements about your mother's endeavors? Um, I'm just thinking it might go a little easier for you in town if the news comes from you as opposed to, well, anyone else.
They kind of exchange pitying looks between them. We don't have the best reputation in town, but I think you're right. If we were to stand in opposition to whatever this was, it might prove useful, better for us.
Yeah, that we're just, well, something to consider anyway. Um, Decision doesn't have to be made now. Why don't y'all sleep on it?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this. You said, uh, Victor Valakovich, he's here?
Why do you ask?
Just wondering.
Well, I'll see you gentlemen out, and I'll make a point of walking outside with them.
All
Hey,
right.
I know
Oh,
you said she
okay.
wasn't. Yeah,
You had something you want to say?
yeah. I just wanted. I mean, you said she wasn't at home much, but what happened to your sister? Was she? I mean, when we found her, she was strapped. She was strapped down. What happened? She always been like that. Victor said there was a change.
Yes. Uh, Mother arranged for her and Victor to court, probably so that she could ensure the Watcher House found its way into the line of barons. Uh, Stella used to speak and think and read, but one day she came home from a meeting with Victor and she was escorted home by guards saying she had been wandering. It found her almost to the gates. She was raving. Then she stopped speaking altogether.
Was she what was she talking about?
Cats mostly.
Pets. Is that why there were so many in the house?
It was the best thing we could do to bring her peace. Mother didn't hardly ever let her out of her room. We would take her to the library in the study in the house, and we would leave for the day, come home in the evening, made sure she was back in bed. The straps were for her safety, so she didn't fall.
Right. Just nods for Zezrak to keep escorting him out.
So listen, gentlemen. As we're walking out, under normal circumstances, I would offer to help clean up at your house, but there are messes all over town, and we're going to be needed here. So do the best you can, and if problems persist into tomorrow, uh, come find us, and well, at least I will be able to help to some extent.
Thank you. When we were arrested, they said the Baron was taking us and our family. At least I suppose have you all to thank for that no longer being the case, for whatever that is.
Well, I do appreciate that, but it's really mostly my brothers, Eldrin and Victor, that you have to thank, and I will be sure to pass your thanks along to both of them when I see them.
They nod and begin heading out of the church. You pass Father Lucian talking to Victor in the threshold. Victor ducks
Mhm.
out of their way as they pass. They head to the road.
Yeah, I will walk back and linger a little bit around Father Lucian and Victor just to see if they um, are either interested in or invite me into their conversation. If they do, I will stop. And if that does not appear to be the case, I will continue on because I got lots of tasks for the evening.
um, you briefly hear there's a softness to the father's voice that kind of indicates the understanding of like that they are family,
Mhm.
but the coldness kind of coming off of Victor is like I barely know who you are.
Mm.
Um uh you catch also that Lucian is discussing the fact that as the heir to the Valakovich household, um Victor is now the Baron,
Mhm.
uh effectively taking place as Burgermaster. Um it is the case, it is very apparent that Victor couldn't give two shits.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and there. So what you kind of just hear is the like gentle trying to persuade in the sense of like this would be very temporary, but you can also even hear in Lucian's voice the edge of like this is not a good idea, but this is kind of the option we have.
Mhm.
Um, uh, And as you're kind of walking back into the church, you can almost feel the resignation that like Lucian is likely going to be stepping into uh, the functional leadership role of Valaki until there is some stability.
Mhm.
Um, as not strictly a no, well, he is a noble technically, but like as the reigning power within the city, that is probably what will be the case. You can get with your guys. inside.
Very well. Well, what's next, gentlemen?
So, am I the only one thinking that Stella's that way because of Victor?
Oh, no, not at all. Not lost on me that Victor has some infatuation with cats, is prone to use magic on people without fully explaining what it is he's doing, and his former fiance has now taken on many feline qualities. That seems like an awful lot of coincidences.
Would have been nice for him to inform us of that, though I guess I can't expect someone like him to incriminate himself.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right now, it's a suspicion. I mean, it's a pretty strong suspicion, but that is far from being fact. Any idea what the best strategy is to try and get him to acknowledge any potential involvement you may have had?
I mean, we. It sounded like he wanted to come with us, right?
Oh,
Like he doesn't want to stay here.
Well, I mean, I can tell you definitively, as we were walking back, he explicitly stated to me that he's going to be, he's looking forward to coming with us, and he helped defend us tonight and looks forward to coming with us because we are friends.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Are we sure that that's a good idea? Like, he seems nice enough, but also kind of loose cannon. No, I mean, look, we're trying to find our way to the Vistani so we can speak to this Madame Ava. I just want to make sure we're not bringing along someone or something that's going to make that difficult.
Well, I do state this fully acknowledging that it is among my blind spots, but what better influence for a loose cannon with tendencies to act irrationally than the three of us?
All right, just as long as he's gonna have to explain what happened. Like, he's gonna have to go into details. No, none of this. Just, oh, she started acting funny one day. No, that's. I don't think that's gonna be enough. I don't think that's gonna fly here.
Mm-hmm.
Am I being
Well-
unreasonable? I mean,
Well,
I don't care if I am. I just want to make sure.
Well, I don't believe that you are being unreasonable. However, I am curious, what would be your expectation if it turned out that he, in fact, was not involved? For if that was the case, how much more detailed could he be? And the only reason I ask is because I don't think it's fair to him or to anyone to set up a set of circumstances which would result in certain failure.
All right, that's fair. That's a fair point. I don't imagine that poor Stella went from normal one day, oh Victor, how are you? Oh, I love you so much, we should get married, to scratching his eyes out and mewing at cats.
No,
I
I
mean,
I
there has
complete-
to have been some sort of progression, something he noticed, something that
I
maybe it
completely
didn't
agree.
make sense then, but it'll make sense now. Or even just, no, there was a period of like a week where it just kept getting weirder. But to just say, oh, I have no idea, one day she just showed up talking to cats, that's just not gonna...
Well, come tomorrow, Twilight Rider willing, I will have some magic to bring to bear, and to exert some leverage on the situation. Lest I learn from my good friend Crowley.
For a second, I thought you were just gonna beat him with a crowbar until he started talking.
Well, let's
I was about to get real impressed, honestly.
why don't we call that option 2?
All right. I think since the three of you can sit up for your long rest, you guys can rest here if you so choose. Um, is there any arrangements you make before you do so, or do you go somewhere else to rest?
I got one more thing I got to do before we rest, and just in terms of break wise, like
Mhm.
we can do it after the break and just figure out our rest situation, because what I need to do has to happen here.
Okay. Let's take our 15-minute break and we'll just get back to that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you guys want. had something you wanted to do in the night before the long rest. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe.
What's up? All right.
Is Blinksy asleep?
Oh God. Yes.
Yeah, I'll let Blinksy sleep.
Okay. Does that mean long rest then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Um. So do you guys camp out here, or do you go elsewhere?
I plan on camping out here.
Okay.
Father Lucian has mentioned a shortage of beds, but we can just take a pew.
Yeah, you guys have the ability to rest here at nights if you'd like, because you can sleep upright. But he can't be taking in all of your adventures, refugees.
Tragic.
He can if we just expand his church to the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
Theocracy, theocracy. Uh, that's never gonna ride.
Always works.
All right. You three can rest and rouse a few hours before the dawn as your rest completes. I guess you have until day to do things, and then wait until daylight.
I will, once my meditation is over, I will find a spot to position myself outside of wherever Blinksy is sleeping so that I don't miss him.
Oh, okay. You're not like hovering. You're just waiting. You're just making
Right.
sure you'll
I'm
catch
waiting
him.
patiently, but I don't want Blinksy bolting on me.
Okay. 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 Yeah. In the morning, as the sun begins to come through the stained glass windows, I put the wrong past tense in that phrase. Stained glass windows. Um. Uh. Blinksy in his cap, and in the clothes from yesterday,
Mhm.
along with Piccolo, come out of one of the cells in the monastery.
Good morning.
Eh, good morning, my friend.
Well, I am very glad to hear you say that. I was concerned that the events of last evening might have caused you to sour on me and my family and my friends, but I am happy this morning to hear you call me friend. How are you doing? How did you sleep?
I did not sleep very well. The screams of the severed
Hmm.
will haunt me, I think, probably forever.
Yes,
But I did eventually rest. Yes, thank you.
well, the good news is that those screams will subside, uh, and before you know it, you'll be sleeping like a baby once again. Would you like some company on your walk back to your shop?
Yes, I think that I would. Uh, what has happened in the night? Has the Baron's estate been burned down, as they said?
Well, no. The Baron's estate stands, which is not quite what I could say for the Baron. Looks like Valaki will soon be requiring new leadership. But one thing I do know is, regardless of leadership, every town needs a good toy maker to bring joy to all the little children's faces. Perhaps even more so in times of uncertainty. So what do you
That
say?
is
Should
what I
we?
am always saying.
Well, of course it is. Where do you think I learned it from?
He puts a big arm around your shoulders and walks you to the door.
Wonderful. Come on, Piccolo, hop on.
Monkey climbs on top of you and begins pulling at your hair.
Right. I think to myself, but do my best to not express it either. I certainly not in word, but not in facial expression. God, I hate this fucking monkey.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I just want to get him back to his place,
Yep.
buy a doll from him or some sort of toy when I'm there.
Cool. He, you can buy a pack of tarot cards that are not the Taroka deck that you've seen before, but
Wonderful. I'll take one of those
yeah.
packs of cards, and but I would like I'd like a doll too. I'd like to be able to sort of strap it onto my armor as maybe a good luck charm.
Well, a little thing. Let's see here. He turns around and looks at the display of a bunch of various sized dolls behind the booth. It's not the word. Register. Um, and grabs a little cloaked figure who has a hood pulled up and very fine, detailed embroidered clothing. Just a very sad looking person with dark hair, kind of shaggy and sad.
Does this fucking thing look like Victor?
um, Not exactly, but definitely enough to give you the heebie-jeebies. This is not the same like caricature thing that Irina dolls were like.
Okay, look, no, this is nice, but how about that one over there? Just thinking to myself, dude, I can't be traveling with Victor with a little caricature of Victor like strapped to my body. Like that's insane.
Yeah, okay.
How
He
about
grabs
that? How
you.
about that skeleton looking thing?
Yeah, very thin, bony little creature.
Wait, are those,
In
did
clothing as well.
did you put little worms in there for eyeballs? Very creative.
Yeah, they're made of yarn. Look at them.
Adorable. How much do I owe you for this and a pack of cards?
And 9 copper pieces a piece for my friend.
Um, yeah, you know what? Here's 8 Electrum. Not at all because Adam doesn't want to do math and Electrum is insane.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh yes, good, yes. Excellent.
Wonderful.
And he throws in a pack of gum for it. Actually, candy cigarettes. This guy carries candy cigarettes for sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll head back to church.
All right.
I would like to, in the morning, after doing some prayers, go and search out Stella,
Okay.
and I would like to try to cast Remove Curse on her.
Okay. She's waiting patiently in the room that she's been given, almost like waiting for the door to be opened, and then like tries to gently push past you. Um, you can like follow her around a little bit until you are able to try casting the spell. But unfortunately, it does not do anything.
Hmm. Well, that's the most that I'm gonna be able to do for you for now.
Oh.
Perhaps I can try again another time.
She just puts your hands back on her forehead for a little while. Anything Arium does?
I'm tempted to go pay another an actual visit this time to Yeska and Christopher's parents, but I think I will put that off for now.
Uh,
Uh,
when
I was just gonna say, so I think he's just going to keep an eye on Stella and uh, spend his time as Arium at the at St. Andrew's.
you notice she's quite prone to wander without supervision, she's still in night clothes, and I don't even think she had an opportunity to get like slippers on her feet. Um, and like wanders the church and then the graveyard beside, and would like almost get to the gate before someone would probably catch her and turn her around. But the three of you can meet back up, decide what you're going to do today.
So I'm
Say,
no, wrong character. Do we have a plan? I hope you're I hope we've had some sort of eureka moment.
well, I've got a plan for how we might get some more information out of Victor. Little birdie inspired me about some magical spells that might be useful. Um, with regards to everything else, not really. I mean,
I think it is probably best to allow Father Lucian to take the lead on what should be done, and just be here to lend support. Do you fellows think it's a good idea for us to return to the Watcher household and see if those bodies have thawed?
yes, well, that's not a bad idea. And we do need to talk to the brothers and come up with a strategy on how they are going to break the news of their mother's indiscretions.
All right. I mean, I agree. Father Lucian is our best point of contact for the town's future. I suppose. I just simply think it's best if we are not seen to be exerting any sort of influence or anything like that. There is no doubt a contingent in this town that are sympathizers with Fiona Watcher um, and her viewpoints. And while we certainly want to make sure that such a group would not gain a gain a ruling position within the city, it does strike me that it would be somewhat difficult to make those assertions ourselves.
Yes, I concur. I think the best we can do is have those Watcher boys state publicly the true intentions of the book club. And then at that point, I think we've got to cross our fingers and hope for the best. I believe the surest way to make sure that Lady Watcher sympathizers seize power is to be seen as coming out against them being in control. I mean, from my perspective, it's make sure the truth comes out about Fiona Watcher,
Mhm.
keep the peace until such time as they've got a plan for how to choose the next leader, and then it's time for us to go.
Agreed.
Hmm.
All of which, I suppose, begins with speaking to Father Lucian again, determining determining how the town intends to proceed.
Wonderful. Let's see if we can find them.
Who are you looking for first?
Father Lucian.
Okay. Yep, he's gonna have slept in a little bit, but he still needs to be up for dawn. So groggy, groggily, he is aware of you.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning.
Once again, we do apologize for the late night and the disruptions. But we are fixing to put an end to that. And that's what we'd like to talk to you about this morning. Do you have any ideas about how to proceed in finding new leadership for the town?
He takes a deep breath and says, "It would likely be written in town charter in the Baron's household what it should be, what should be done. But the understanding is that the House of Alakovich is the standing, maintaining Baron, Lord of Valaki. This means whether or not Victor abdicates, he is the manifestation of leadership. He made it very clear he has no intention of maintaining this role. it would, I believe, ultimately be his decision who should be named in his place, barring any of his own offspring. His mother, having only married into the family, is ineligible for the position. He could name another house, but it would be some 500 years of thwarting of a history of the city. Though I think at this time, perhaps some upheaval is exactly what is needed.
So you're on board with our theocracy plan then? I'm kidding.
I
Well,
am only fit to lead in the capacity of my ordination.
Father, what is your opinion on the Mordakov family?
The Martakovs are good people, that is true. Though I believe Erwin may be having his hands full. He has a business to run and two children to raise. He is not brought with the education that members of the Vlakovich or other noble houses have been provided.
All right, Irina, you're up. You're in charge now. Well, sounds like we should check out the Vlakovich house for the charter and those documents outlining the line of succession, and perhaps pay particular attention to anything about what should happen if the Vlakovich line should come to an end. But just know, Father, our objective here is just to be here long enough to keep the peace, um, so that a process can be established for how to find a new leader if one cannot simply be appointed as a result of these documents that we're looking for, or Victor's appointing someone to lead in his absence.
He nods. You have done good for this city in uprooting many of its anciently seeded evils. I commend you for it, as does the Dawn itself.
That is very kind. I wish I was as certain about the righteousness of our actions as you are. I can say definitively, however, that at least you won't have to endure any more of those god awful festivals.
He chuckles and says, "It would appear that there had been many serpents that were lying in Valaki, and you have had the perhaps misfortune of encountering many, but have severed the heads of all that you have yet met. It may be a difficult road ahead for our people, but A new path, I think, would still be better than the old rut we were digging ourselves in.
Very uplifting, Father. Thank you. So, gentlemen, uh, to the Watcher household or the Velaki household or somewhere else entirely?
So let's head to the Watchers first, see what the situation is over there,
Wonderful.
and then we can speak about approaching the Baron's home.
You can approach Watcher House, and what you see is peculiar. You have the black glass figures of the Baron, his hounds, and the poor guards who were in the path, still perched in the garden at the foot of the stairs, at the foot of the threshold. And surrounding them are wary gawkers, onlookers who could not help but notice what it was that was sitting on the lawn of this ancient house. And beyond that, and at the threshold of the door, are Nikolai and Karl, both of them looking rather pale, kind of sickly, actually. Um, and at their feet, on the porch, there are two dead bodies. One is remarkably recognizable, Fiona Watcher. The other is another you have not seen, a dusty figure in old, expensive clothing. The gaunt, thin face, quite like the boys, um, but quite dead. As weathered as Nikolai and Karl appear to be, they are standing on their porch and addressing the crowd, with a sort of woozy authority that has you a little nervous. But they are telling the people who are approaching that they had found, upon the return to their household this night, not only the body of their mother and several of her acquaintances in foul demonic ritual, but had later found, as they searched the house, the corpse of their father, who they had long thought buried, sitting in their mother's bedroom. And they are irrefutably disgusted, um, and are denouncing everything they understood their mother to be involved with, and are brinking on anger uh, in their disgust. The people who are witness are horrified, um, and several even look like they're going to be ill and run from the garden. Um, the boys also say that this discovery would not have been made possible were it not for the interference of the prevailing. I had a very good word for this a moment ago. Cleanse. Not the word I was looking for, but it'll do. That has been in the wake of the three travelers from the east. That it has been by their hand that Isaac Strasny has been laid low. It has been through your investigation that their mother's foulness has been unveiled. And through your interfering, that the Baron finally broke. And almost as a final point, it is said that the one thing that remains in Vallaki, the one wickedness that should be known, that needs to be purged, is Viktor Valakovich.
Is everybody?
Well, addressing the crowd, we would like to thank you for your very gracious and very informative recitation of events. I must say, I think our part may have been a bit exaggerated, but we appreciate the recognition and thank you all for your kindness. I must say that after the type of tumult that this town has seen, I don't know that any more purging or violence is what it needs. I think what any of us need in a situation like this is to come together and find common ground and look forward with common purpose to find new leadership. Viktor Valakovich clearly has no place in this town's future. But to hunt him down and punish him for his past deeds, well, that is just dragging yourselves into the past with him. No, I say, please, look forward. Look to the future. Look to each other for comfort. Look to each other to find a new leader. And look to each other for pleasant, joyful distractions. Like the distractions you can find at Gadolf Blinksey's store. You might want to stop by. It really is quite delightful.
Oh,
Sell out.
Dude, I almost got my boy Blinksy killed. Like, I'm his number one hype man at this point.
Oh, the 180 on this guy. Why don't you roll me a persuasion check?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Ooh.
Pretty
The-
appropriate time to drop a natural 20.
Yeah, very good. The crowd that had begun to notice you almost secondarily, but then begin to piece together who you might be. And then certainly who you are. You even could recognize some guards who are within the number here who maybe were witness to what had happened the night before. What would have been confusion and mourning and disgust turns to a captive audience who, while still biting back bile, are in complete acknowledgement and understanding of the truth of what you're saying. I don't think you see the same forgiveness in the eyes of Nikolai and Carl still, but they do not argue. They more or less continue to tell anyone who wanders over to see what the crowd may be for pretty much the same stuff. Just
Look,
what happened and how bad it was.
if I averted pitchforks and torches coming after Victor Velakovich like right now, then I'm counting it as a success.
I think you're in a good place there, yeah. You can walk away from this knowing that you're not gonna have to watch the burgomaster's house burn down today. Oh, cool. Gross thing about the dad.
So gross.
Yeah, I was horrified one of you guys were gonna walk into the room and find it yourselves.
Little Rose family moment.
Yeah. So where do you head next?
Well, I don't know. Do we need to go by the burgomasters and try and figure out what the succession documents say, or is that someone else's responsibility?
I don't know. I feel like finding those documents would perhaps be a little counterproductive um, given the things that you've just said to them.
Yeah, well, perhaps we let sleeping dogs lie then. We should probably try and find Victor though. Sounds like
Get
him
him
being
out of
around
the
here,
city.
yeah, it could be a real problem.
Where do you want to look?
In every fucking shadow or dark fucking alley, anywhere some creepy ass fuck might fucking creep around. How about that? That fucking nightmare of a human being.
Oh, he accidentally became my favorite NPC. that you've yet encountered.
Right.
God, this book is chock full of some good folks.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He accidentally became my favorite just because of how much you fucking hate him and how nice you're trying to be to him still.
Right.
Terrible he is.
Yeah, just the worst. I mean, he's so bad he's making me regret being a redemption paladin. Yeah, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta give me a heading or else we'll be out all day.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, head back to the church. That's the last place we saw him creeping around.
Mhm.
He was not there when you were there this morning.
Uh,
I'm torn between suggesting we go back to the study in the Watcher's place 'cause of the cats, or perhaps just finding the absolute worst dive bar we could possibly find.
yeah, I think the cats in the Watcher's place are way too alive for Victor.
For now.
Perhaps that was the problem.
hmm
Oh my lord.
If need be, I can expend some magic. It would leave me short of my most powerful abilities, and summon a guiding light that should lead us towards him.
It sounds like that would save you a lot of time.
Yeah, I'll cast locate creature and try to find Victor Valakovich.
Great. Could you send that to me?
Yeah. Concentration up to an hour, 1,000 feet. We'll be just walking through town.
Hmm. Okay. I'll say this does take about that full hour-ish to get somewhere close enough. Um, you are brought back to the Burgomaster's Manor, and you know as you approach, because of you know the direction and everything, he is certainly in the attic.
I guess we could have just checked here. It's probably a obvious place for us to have gone and checked first.
I asked,
Oh
but you
well.
didn't.
Oh well. I didn't need my
Well,
4th level spell slot. It'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. What could possibly happen here?
Yeah, what could happen today? We did
we've
everything yesterday.
we've clearly handled everything, so I'm sure it's fine. Um, I am. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna walk straight back to the kitchen.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. The door is locked. Oh, wait, I might be imagining. I'm thinking there's a back door to the kitchen. Is that what you meant?
No, I'm walking through the front door,
Okay.
straight through the house, back to the kitchen.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You see no staff as you walk through. Go
Oh,
upstairs. Yeah.
my buddy the cook's not here.
Nobody's
Hmm.
here.
All right. Uh, I'll just yell down the hallway. Hey, I guess maybe I should have expected this, but there's no one's on staff today. Say, hmm. All right, well, let's head up to the attic and
As you're headed upstairs, you hear steps, someone running like down the stairs towards you. And Victor is like in front of you within a few moments. Hello,
hey, hey, Vic, how you doing?
great. How are you? Did you rest well?
Yeah, I rested all right. How about yourself? You seem rather excited this morning.
Yes, I've been up all night. Come on, come upstairs.
Okay. Hey, Zeldrin, Ariam, I'm upstairs
Yeah.
with Victor.
Uh-huh.
Send help.
Come on up.
Okay.
So, Victor, what do you have to show me?
I heard you shouting. I'm glad you arrived. I've been uh, going through the study, finding
Hmm.
anything we could find. And he doesn't take you to the attic entrance. He takes you
Hmm.
actually up to the study on the second floor. Um, a lot of the shelves appear to have been rearranged or affected in some way, Several books have been stacked in piles. Many of the ones that are stacked out on the desk are quite old. Um, and he says, I found some paperwork for the city long, 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 long ago, back when this was settled before the count.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. What's it have to say? Does it say anything about the line of succession?
Uh, well, it is unfortunately primarily exactly that I am the heir of the
Hmm.
territory. Uh, I can, of course, elect to abdicate to another noble house. Uh, the patriarch of said house would then be a master of the land. Uh, Valaki would be then ceded to that household.
And are there other noble houses in town that can be trusted?
He puts his hands on his hips and thinks. The problem is that I do not know them very well. Uh, my mother might have suggestions. She knows them better than I. Problem is, she has not left her room all day.
Well, that's
Uh,
understandable.
this is going to be kind of a wild thing, and feel free to shoot it down. I'm just thinking. The Watcher household is a noble house. The boys that now run it seem like they've got their head on straight.
He thinks about it. That would be, I think, something that Fiona would be very happy to know if her family were to finally actually take leadership within Valaki. But she is dead, so.
Yeah, I do not care what it is that she would find comfort in.
And I am not, despite appearances, I am not entirely one for spite.
They have spoken out against the book club. They do not seem as though they wish to be in league with the Count. I think a conversation to make sure that's the case might not be amiss.
I think that would be probably one of the best things we could offer. He begins collecting some books, folios, and forms into a black leather case. Should we go now, or is it too bright outside?
Well, it
Well,
is bright outside. I don't know about too bright.
All right.
Wait. Victor, it is not a good idea for you to accompany us to speak to the Watchers.
Oh, why
well,
not?
this probably won't surprise you, Victor, but they are none too pleased with you. It was earlier this morning when they described you as the final scourge that must be eradicated from Valaki.
Oh,
Um, however, I think that if it is your plan and intention to abdicate your family's rule and hand it over to the Watcher family, that might go a long way to easing their discomfort. That, along with the knowledge that once you abdicate, you will be leaving this town never to return.
Yes, yes, I could do that.
Well, I don't know. It is risky. What do you think, Zeldrin, Ariam? Best leave him here and try and broker some sort of peace before they meet, or do we march behind technically the current leader of Valaki over to the Watcher's house and surprise them by making them the new leaders of Valaki?
I think it's not a bad idea to speak with the Watchers before we just head over there.
Wonderful.
Send a messenger or something? Or...
Well, I mean, it's not that far. We could walk over, inform them of the latest bit of events. Perhaps also not a bad idea to try and negotiate uh, safe passage for Victor so that they are not appointed the new leaders only to turn around and order Victor killed.
I will uh I will request my uncle come with as witness for the documents.
Sounds like a wonderful idea. Why don't you send a messenger uh, to your uncle, have him meet you here? We'll go gauge the interest of Masters Nikolai and Carl.
Yes. He goes to. I totally meant to say it, but I totally forgot to. One of the cats he has now lounging around every part of the house
This
rather than restricted to
motherfucker.
the attic. um, he scritches it under its little skeletal chin, whispers something to it, and then opens the window. The cat hops out and climbs down the edifice. She smiles at all of you guys. I'll await your message. Creep.
Wonderful. Shall we?
Back to Watcher House.
Back to the Watcher House.
All right. You're once again facing the macabre display of several dead people in a yard.
Hello again, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I was wondering, might the five of us have a word together in private?
That could be arranged, I think. Come inside.
Thank you.
They'll bring you into the house, into the same den where you met their mother for the first time. All of the paintings have been removed from the wall, and stains on the wallpaper indicate that there used to be something there.
Brother, would you care to inform them of the good news?
We believe we've come up with a possible solution that you might be interested in. We've spoken with Victor. He has no interest of remaining in this town. His intentions are to leave it at the first chance. There are old laws written for this town that describe the right of succession, etc. By all legal rights, or whatever they're worth, Victor has come into possession of the position of burgomaster. However, as I said, he is not interested in keeping it. He intends to banish himself from this city, never to return. The rules state that he can bequeath the title and such to another noble house. Therein, the patriarch of that family becomes the governor of these lands. And given the nature of things that have transpired, I believe one of you two boys is the patriarch of this family here.
And Nikolai nods.
Nikolai, we have not known you long. There's much we would have done to stand in the way of your mother gaining this position. I hope you understand why. I think you have spoken out against her plans, but I wish to know it from your mouth. The Count of this land of Barovia, Strahd, we cannot condone anyone who would support him or turn this town over to him and his bloodsuckers of the night. I would hope to hear in plain words that you are not one who would consider such an option.
Zeldrin, could you make me either a persuasion or intimidation check, whichever you feel you are intoning? Okay.
Just got an inspiration, if you'd like it.
I've got a pretty average roll. There's, 50% chance I do worse if I roll again, so. Not that we take the worst roll, but I think this is as good as it's gonna get, really.
Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by the fact that locate creature can't locate a creature if running water at least 10 feet wide blocks a direct path between you and the creature.
Huh.
And I had never read that before, and that caught me off guard.
That's pretty cool.
That's very funny. Um, Nikolai says, the House of Watcher has had a long history in service of Strahd. It has not been for the purpose of anything except for the exchange of land, power, strength. If it is to be offered the city the responsibility of its protection and its survival would be in the Watcher hands. I would rather do the disservice to my ancestors to turn my back, on their loyalties than to see what I witnessed within my own home growing and festering and spreading in this city like a disease. I think knowing what my mother had done to my departed father and how she dragged his name, this time that the House of Watcher found strength within itself.
Can I roll to get a vibe for how upfront and forthcoming his words are?
Sure, yeah. Given the plea to the public from earlier and what you've seen the city endure, he is either a very good liar and manipulator of this reality, um, or he is honest. And what is the deciding factor to you, um, being this close to them for the probably like a significantly better time than usual? The both of them, their clothing reeks of alcohol and they smell sick. Um, Something has changed in them that would lean towards their honesty in this moment. Their vulnerability, I should say.
Hmm. Very good. Well, if it is permissible for you to interact with Victor, if for just ceremonious reasons, Father Lucian will be present so that he can bear witness to Victor abdicating the position of burgomaster to you.
Bring him to Watcher House.
Very well.
Okay. Through a coordination of efforts, Father Lucian and Viktor Velakovich find themselves walking up the garden path to Watcher House with Karl and Nikolai awaiting them. As Victor lightly bows his head to the two of them as he enters, Karl reels back and punches him in the face, um, which he shakes out and says, "For my sister." And Victor, just as he's kind of like holding his nose, just nods his head in understanding and then goes into the house. Father Lucian presides over a meeting and discussion and signing of forms for the new charter, which is the entire abdication of any in the name of Velakovich from claiming right to uh, the Baron status in Vallaki, and that the head of the House of Watcher should be the reigning Baron hereafter until such time someone such should likewise abdicate. This process takes a surprisingly short amount of time for paperwork and such, but this does wind the three of you into your afternoon, this day of bureaucracy.
And when all the bureaucracy is complete, Sazerac leans in and says, "Okay, fellas, when's our first festival?" Freeze frame. It's in the way that you use it. Once it's all said and done, I will, as it seems like it's winding down, I will gather Ariam and Zeldrin for a little huddle. Well, it seems like we are not the only ones who think it is right to place blame on Victor for Stella's condition. Do you think we should clear that up after this, or should we make our way out of town first?
I'm sorry, clear what up exactly?
Well, I thought we were going to try and get some honest answers out of Victor about what he did to Stella.
Yes.
If it's possible to learn something from him that might aid us in
Mm.
undoing whatever transformation has befell her. I attempted this morning to cleanse her of any curses that might be causing such, but that was unfruitful.
Mm.
It may need some kind of greater restorative ability that I do not yet have.
Yes, well, perhaps as we travel through these strange lands and experience new things, that will tally up.
Twilight Rider will see the points that I have earned. Grant me some larger boon, a higher level of worship.
Yeah, once as you gain those abilities and the grace, the further grace of the Twilight Rider, their power willing, they'll just slot those new abilities right in. What were we doing? Hey, has anybody seen Victor? Why's Nicholas got a sword that's dripping with blood?
Right, well, let's head back to the Baron's Manor.
What was that?
Why?
Ooh, at the
Why?
Baron's Manor.
Why?
I just yawned. I'm sorry.
No, no, not the why the
Right.
why go to the Baron's Manor?
To get Victor.
Victor's
Oh,
with
he's
us.
already here with us.
Yeah.
Sorry,
He
we
just
kind of
got
like we just
decked.
narrated the went and got Victor and brought him back thing, and I knew that happened, but it slipped my mind. And that was
where do you guys go? What's the next plan?
We need to go anywhere, or are we just gonna just talk to him here?
Oh, I don't know that talking to him here in front of the Watchers is such a good idea.
mean, if you think about it, then perhaps the Watchers might have seen any sort of changes befalling their sister. I mean, obviously they have, given the
I mean, didn't they mention that she was with him one night and returned changed?
not returned, but she was found wandering.
Hmm.
Yes, but I think my concern is that it is one thing to suspect that Victor has done something to their sister and even to blame Victor for that unknown thing or that has caused this condition to befall Stella. It is something else entirely to have Victor here in your house after you have been made the Baron of these lands to admit to exactly what he did to your sister. Perhaps it's best we leave their knowledge where it is for the sake of peace in these lands.
Fair enough. We can always come back to speak to them if we need to.
Certainly. Victor, let's take a walk.
Grabs his stuff and shakes hands with the Watchers and then leaves with you.
Now, Victor, there is one last bit of business that we need to take care of before we head out of town.
All right.
And I'll just, as we're walking, I'll, this is, I guess, just conversation as we're traveling the streets. We still haven't found a place to do this yet. You have no more information about what happened to Stella?
Oh, but I think I know what happened to Stella.
Would you mind sharing with us what happened with Stella?
We were together, and she had asked about some of the developments in my studies, and I showed her. It didn't go the way we thought it would, perhaps, but
Okay, Victor, back up a minute. Thank you. Showed her how?
it was a manner of demonstration.
Would you care to elaborate?
I haven't been able to do it since. There's a bit of magic. I did not interpret it correctly, perhaps, but the incantation was, I thought anyway, supposed to be an enlightening one. It did not work out the way I thought it would.
So you attempted to cast a spell on Stella that would grant her some additional insight, some additional knowledge?
Yes.
And you did not cast the spell correctly. And this new feline personality is the result of whatever went wrong when you cast that spell.
Yes.
And you say you have not been able to repeat this process?
No, and I did try to undo it, but she escaped.
Do you know how to undo it?
No.
Okay. Um, well, one, thank you for being honest with us. That is how friends should communicate with one another. Honestly. Two, I understand that you have not been able to repeat this process. Um, I think I can speak for all three of us when I say, do not try and repeat this process.
I remember the portal.
Right. Um, Finally, well, at least finally for me, I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but my brother and Ariam, they may have a point or many points in addition to what I have to say. But my final point on the subject is I know what it is like to make a grave mistake with the life of a loved one. And it is possible to redeem yourself for such a terrible action, but in order to do so, you must remember it and keep it in your heart and make sure that that terrible mistake informs your decisions going forward. Do you understand, Victor?
He's silent, doesn't really make eye contact, but nods.
Okay, buddy. Again, thank you for telling us the truth.
As you're walking, the three of you hear harried footsteps clicking against cobbles, and the attention drawn by that noise is met with the visage of a gentleman in a yellow suit running up to you rather quickly and out of breath. Oh, thank God! I've been trying to find you guys all day. Rictavio puts his hands on his knees to catch his breath. Did I hear right? That you, and he points to each of you, found a vampire nest in Valaki?
You did hear that right. Where did you hear that exactly?
The guards, this morning. It's all over town, all sorts of crazy shit you guys have gotten into. Vampires in Valaki, a whole nest of them. How many?
Oh, what was it, brother? 5, 6?
Yeah, it was something like that. It moved fast. It's hard to tell, really.
And you killed them. You killed them all.
Oh,
Uh,
There was one that got away.
a shape like A human woman with a strange mask on her face. Went by the name
Was that
Volenta.
Valenta? Yeah.
Yes, Volenta Popovsky.
And you survived, and none of you been bitten, changed, anything.
Is there anyone else around us other than this guy talking to us?
Victor.
Victor will be down with this. Yes, that's right, certainly. And I'm going to try to move around so that we are surrounding this individual. Certainly, none of the three of us were bitten, and none of the three of us were turned into vampires. And I'm moving in to try to like.
You kind of lunge a little bit, like even as a joke. He instantly draws from his cane a saber and holds it to you, like reflexive defensive motion. Okay,
Very impressive.
was that a joke?
I would show you my teeth so you could see that they're not fangs, but well,
That's
they
gonna
are
make things
just
worse.
entirely that way the whole time. None of us were
Right.
bit. The creatures have been dispatched, other than the Popovsky. And the rest of us, the rest of them were destroyed in the coffin maker's workshop.
Well, just in the interest of honesty here, none of us were transformed.
He
I wasn't.
nods.
I was, in fact, bit several times. I do not recommend it.
No, it's a bitch. It's a real bitch. And he sheathes his saber. I think we all have a lot we should talk about.
Oh, brothers, every time we try and get out, they pull us back in.
And we'll call session there, but rest assured your time with Valaki is effectively over.